Coming up on the Cocktail Guru podcast, it's a special 2-part season finale.
Join us live for part 1 with guests Jim Ruane from Cierto Tequila, Nick Rose from Hudson Whiskey, and Jeff Naples from Reyka Vodka.
Oh, we're on, John. We're here, live streaming.
Oh my gosh.
For the very first time in New Orleans.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. I've seen you in a while.
I know that we have friends who are tuning in, streaming, because this is live. We are live on Facebook. So from Tales of the Cocktail.
Our friends are all over the world. This is a worldwide live stream. We have friends in Sweden, Israel, France, Germany, practically every country in the world, Finland, and of course throughout the United States in every state. And don't forget, we're on Comcast.
That's right.
Television in the Big South.
We're in the Big South.
Louisiana.
Yeah. This is amazing. How has your tales been? Good?
Tales have been very good.
Yeah.
And my heads too.
Jesus. Okay. I'd like to, I know, it's a dad joke. Can we move on to our guest? Because we have 3 amazing guests today, and I'd like to bring on our very first guest of this live stream episode at Tales of the Cocktail. Are you ready?
We're ready.
Okay.
But there is a leitmotif, a common thread between all of our guests here today and all of the products.
Yes.
The leitmotif is everything we're going to talk about today is award-winning.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right.
Award-winning.
Yeah.
Oh, there's someone's vacuuming the hallway. That's great to have. That's okay. Well, no. Anything can happen. But we have Jim Ruane from Cierto Tequila. Welcome.
And tequila is one of my all-time favorite.
Oh, my name's
of course. So welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for being here and bringing these gorgeous tequilas.
I think I can barely see you over these bottles, but it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be on live. My New Jersey neighbor.
Exactly.
We're good to see you. Yeah, it's always.
We're just one town over from each other.
Yes.
Same throw.
And Jim, I was introduced to your product in Las Vegas at the Access Live WSTF. Can you tell us what the inspiration is behind Cierto Tequila so that we have a little bit of background on it?
Sure. It's really easy. Cierto translates in Spanish to true. And true tequila is everything that you need to know about Cierto Tequila. Made without any additives, no shortcuts, and on the motif of awards, it's the most awarded tequila in history. We're approaching 1,000 awards, which we expect that we'll get around September. And so everything that you need to know is right there on the bottle and right there inside the bottle. So the inspiration was really to create the world's best tequila, but do so in a way that was true to tradition, true to sustainable agriculture, true to our distillers' intentions.
And for those of you out there who don't know, true, authentic luxury tequila is made from 100% blue agave Weber.
Oh, of course. And additive-free tequila is made with agave, yeast, and water.
That's it.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Right. And we're seeing a lot of interest in additive-free tequila these days. And that to me says the educated consumer, the educated drinker wants to know more about the product.
Yes.
And, we like to say that there's no question we won't answer, which I love coming on shows such as yours.
Yeah. I mean, 15 years ago, it was, okay, let's get away from the gold tequila and let's move to 100% blue agave. But now, 2024, it's let's move to additive-free tequilas because, like you were saying, the education is more widespread. Bartenders, we've been educated, craft cocktail folks, but now it's getting to the consumers, which is really the point.
Yeah, it is. And we're seeing that narrative start to cross over from, more niche industry, trade interests, bartender conversations, trade podcasts, to the Wall Street Journal, to Forbes. We're really writing about additive-free tequila, really well-made tequila, because that's what that's what their readers are saying that they want.
Amazing. Should we try some?
I think we should.
It would be a crime if we didn't.
What are we trying here?
Well, we have here our private collection Reposado and our reserve collection Extra Añejo because I wanted to bring out the big guns for you guys.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Yeah, of course.
The Reposado is aged for around 11 months, is it not?
It's aged
Limousin oak.
Oh,
yeah.
A+ in the pronunciation there. But it is all of our aged tequilas are aged in the French Limousin oak. And what that means in terms of the flavor profile of the tequila is it has a more elegant, subtler, more savory influence than an American oak ex-whiskey barrel, which tends to be a bit more assertive. What that also means is it takes longer to extract the flavor from the barrel. So an 11-month reposado is quite literally as old a reposado as you can be without becoming an añejo tequila. But we believe, good things come to those who wait, and tequila is no exception.
Absolutely. Wow.
Thank you.
I've really noticed.
I've tasted this before.
You have.
And it is fantastic.
Let's go back to pronunciation, because I really noticed during this trip, Dax, you do pronounce French words as they are supposed to be pronounced.
Correct.
And here in New Orleans, all of the streets that are named after French names, they don't pronounce them that way, right? Like
Well,
Charters, Charter Street. Every time Dad's like, shop.
We were walking down the street to go to a favorite breakfast place, and it's on Chartres Street.
It's Charter.
But if I say Chartres, nobody's going to know what I'm saying. So,
Dad
is one of those.
but I refuse to pronounce it the American way. It's Chartres.
Okay.
Please.
First of all, salute. It's a pleasure to be here
Yes,
with you all.
this is wonderful. Reposado.
Eye contact.
Yes.
Must.
Oh, yeah.
I like to get right into it. This reposado, it's not going to smack you across the face with vanilla. You're getting a lot of baking spice, butterscotch. I know you've had our Blanco.
Yes.
It has a white peppercorn note that in the barrel translates to butterscotch. And that's really the influence of French oak. That's really the influence of what was previously in those French oak barrels, which was Cognac, Armagnac, Bordeaux, Barolo, some really beautiful wines and French distillates. And our distiller, Enrique Fonseca and Sergio Mendoza, their inspiration for using those French Limousin oak barrels is Enrique learned to distill in Scotland and learn barrel maturation and blending in France from French winemakers and cognac makers. So it's a very European-inspired production process. And you can taste it in the tequila.
This is so smooth, and in the middle of the mouth, there's an intensity and richness that you don't find in too many reposados.
Well, right now I get
really
a little
nice.
like minty menthol, which I really like because makes my mouth happy.
That's
Well,
what it's all about.
I get something that reminds me more of caramel.
Okay,
Yeah,
to each their own.
You're going to get a bit of caramel. And what I love, there's so much texture and there's something to discover with every sip. So your first, second, third sips as it aerates in the glass. It's a tequila that just really opens up beautifully once it's in the glass.
But I get the mintiness. I get it.
Okay, thanks. I do get the caramel.
Good.
Shall we try the extra añejo?
It would be
wow.
it would be a crime if we didn't.
Now that's the Reserve
It's the Reserve.
Extra Añejo.
It's the Reserve
Wow.
Collection Extra Añejo, which we do sell on Cierto.com, but we're starting to roll it out nationally. So the Reserve Collection is what it says. It's our distillers opening the vaults to their tequila library. And when you think tequila library, that sounds one like a lot of fun, but it is a collection of 30,000 barrels of aged tequila in the Jalisco Highlands. Half of them are 3 years of age or older. They have the world's largest, oldest, most valuable, most unique tequila collection anywhere. Largest, oldest, most valuable, most.
Now this is the private collection tequila. Extra Añejo is aged for 48 months.
That's correct.
So this means this is from the Reserve Collection,
Correct.
and that means it's perhaps beyond 48
So it's a
months.
minimum of 48 months.
Okay.
And
Okay.
those 48 months, and really I do love trying, a reposado right next to an añejo or an extra añejo because the difference is so profound.
Yeah.
Our añejo is aged for 18 months. This is aged for 48 months. And just the difference that those 30 additional months in the barrel makes is really profound. And so when we say a minimum of 48 months, that's because our Reserve Collection has a much larger percentage of that ultra aged tequila. If you've been to the distillery La Tequilena, NOM 1146,
When are we going?
There's a
When
plane
it-
leaving
Yeah,
in a few
great.
minutes.
Okay.
We're going.
There's a plane on the tarmac.
Okay.
For bound for Guadalajara. Some of these tequilas are 20, 25 years old. And you can really taste the roundness that brings to the liquid. So I'm curious to understand what you're getting. Because I think this is the first time either of you have tried
This is incredible.
I'm getting extremely balanced and rich.
Now, I can't even taste it. I'm just smelling it. I can't. I often spend a lot of more time smelling than I do tasting. And I'm getting an intensity of agave
Yes.
that I didn't get in the Reposado. It was even greater here. But I'm also getting a hint of smokiness. Almost, I would say, if we were dealing with Scotland, I would say almost a peaty-like quality.
Yeah, and that's from the barrel. That's from the char. Again, that white peppercorn note that exists in agave, in the Blanco, really translates into different things the longer it spends in the barrel, the different types of barrels that it's in. That you're going to get a bit of cognac. I get a cognac note on this. It's definitely sweeter, a bit more indulgent than the Reposado, but I love what you said about the agave, because our distiller's intention is for the agave to express itself in the glass, right? And we don't want the agave to be masked by barrels, to be masked by char, to be masked by additives, right? It's all about allowing the incredible plant to be there.
Jim, before we let you go, we forgot to ask you this at the beginning, which is what we always ask our guests when they first come on. What is your desert island drink? So if you're like stranded on a desert island.
That's a really tough question.
I mean, it could be like some people have said coconut water because they get a coconut, or a cocktail.
Cierto Blanco.
Okay.
Very good.
There you go.
Which is rested for 6 to 8 months, I believe.
You've done
in
your homework.
stainless steel.
He's a homework guy.
I do my homework.
Jim Ruane, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on this live stream.
Of course, pleasure
Thank
being
you,
here.
Jim. This is fantastic.
Great. I'll see you guys around. I'll see you in New Jersey.
Yes,
See you.
we'll
And
make
be
a
back.
date.
We'll be back in a minute.
Unleashed Coffee is a farm-to-cup adventure like no other. Step into a world where exceptional flavors, tantalizing aromas, and rich mouthfeel take you on a journey from your kitchen to the picturesque coffee plantations at origin. At Unleashed Coffee, we believe in fostering connections between coffee lovers and the hardworking farmers behind each bean. Join the journey through our coffee subscription program and gain access to our exclusive online community, connecting you to fellow enthusiasts and the producers of your morning brew. To help you extract every nuance of flavor from our beans, take part in our on-demand coffee brewing courses right in the comfort of your own home. If you are seeking B2B coffee solutions that go beyond just beans, our comprehensive wholesale packages cater to the diverse needs of mobile carts, farm stands, restaurants, cafes, retail shelves, and more. Use coupon code GURUCOFFEE at the checkout to receive 10% off your first purchase at unleashedcoffee.com.
Going right along to our next guest
We're back. Back and even better than we were a few minutes ago.
with a cocktail in our hands.
With a drink. Yes, and we have another special guest, Jeffrey Naples.
Oh, I think it's
who is-
special, man. That's
You're
special.
I mean, you Jeffrey is your name, so
Jeffrey.
That's
Hi,
right.
Jeffrey. So you are the U.S. brand ambassador for Reyka Vodka.
I am, yes.
And I'm not sure everybody knows about Reyka Vodka, but I'm happy to say it comes from a land that is absolutely gorgeous. One, unfortunately, I've never been to yet,
We need to change
but
that.
it's called Iceland.
Yes, a place unlike anywhere else in the
Right.
world.
And so, Jeffrey, we're going to ask you this question before we get into it.
Yeah.
What is your desert island?
Water. But obviously glacial water, right? From Iceland.
what
Of
I
course,
was
the cleanest
gonna
water
say.
in the world. So,
Glacial
yes.
water.
Yeah.
Great.
Just the one used for Reyka Vodka.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I'd like to take a sip of this cocktail before it gets too
Absolutely.
warm.
Yes,
Can you tell
cheers. So this is our Icelandic
Cheers.
version of the pornstar martini. It's a strawberry rhubarb puffin martini.
Fantastic.
Please don't say porn star in front of my dad.
That's right. It's the puffin star martini. So this is our we're in New Orleans here, so it's kind of a play on the French drink, also the Fresh Sauvage.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little strawberry, fresh strawberry,
Mhm.
lime or lemon, put it in your choice, and a little bit of there's a little bit of
Very good.
rosé on there.
And here in New Orleans, anything goes. Right?
Anything goes. That's
Laissez
right.
les bon temps rouler, as we say.
Jeffrey, can you tell us how you got to the position where you are today?
So, actually, for a few years, I hosted a TV show about all spirits. It was called The Beard Behind the Bar. It's a much longer beard, and I'd done some contracting work with William Grant & Sons before, and they gave me a call one day, and I was like, maybe they're looking for a Bill Vinny guy or a Monkey Shoulder guy, or maybe the Hendrix guy. And they're like, we have a perfect role for you. And it's Reyka Vodka. And I was like, what? Wait, what? But, then we start getting into the story a little bit about what Reyka is. Kind of like you talked about, from a place unlike anywhere else, made of Iceland. And I started looking into it. And my background is in regenerative agriculture. And so looking into it more, the base behind Reyka Vodka is just, it's the cleanest water on the planet, the cleanest air on the planet. And it's filtered, it's still one time in a carton. It's still the only vodka in the world being done that way. And then it's filtered through lava rock. So you simply are just getting one of the cleanest vodkas.
Yeah. Wait, regenerative agriculture.
Regenerative agriculture, yeah, trying to regenerate soil through agriculture. A lot of what we do, there's a lot of waste. Yeah, so I grew up in Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa, farm country, and you see a lot of farmland and stuff. And I realized I didn't know much about it. So when I got in the bar world, I said I need to learn more about the flavors in which we're drinking. And you learn they all come from the soil we stand on,
right?
And that's where you're getting those wonderful flavors. And so, I want to learn about it and say, how do we make sure that we ensure the future of these things? And so when Reyka Vodka came around and said, hey, we think you're perfect for this role, it just felt like, this is a natural fit, and a lot of people, as an ambassador, vodkas may not be seen as the sexiest thing in the bar industry, but it is the basis for most drinks that we've had, or the starter drink for most people. And also even in the more maybe sophisticated, we could say, drinks go back to a lot of vodka.
And they loved you so much. You made such a great impression. They shipped you off to Iceland.
That's right. I get to go to Iceland once in a while, hang out. They do send me there when it's like absurdly cold. I was there when it was the coldest it's been in 100 years. And we went to the glacier to shoot a bunch of footage. Oh, gee. It was roughly about negative 90 degrees, our temperature.
Wow.
And anyway, don't you love this?
Well, that's another place we've never gotten to.
Yes,
but we must.
We have a bar on the glacier there. We'll have to bring you sometime. We'll shoot the show there.
I've only been once changing planes.
It's a wonderful experience.
So Tales of the Cocktail, I know that William Grant puts on these amazing events. We unfortunately weren't able to make it to the portfolio party on Tuesday.
It's wonderful.
But what are some of the things that Reyka specifically is doing for the trade?
So with that, we really have a few very specific markets this year in America, and some of them may not seem like the most obvious. Tampa, Florida, but there's wonderful things happening there. Baltimore, Maryland. These bar scenes that are growing out of their major cities and really expanding, and you're seeing drinks that are being done that are just absolutely fabulous. And so we have a trade program that's called Icelandic Institute, where we bring in a food scientist, a little bit of kind of the agricultural thing, bring it back to where we let people try things and let them kind of close their eyes and say, what do you taste? What are you tasting? Are you tasting a warm climate, a cold climate? What's the ground look like? Is it long grass? Is it, dusty ground? What is it? Let them kind of understand their own palates a little bit more. And so, that's kind of been our big thing. And it's for Reyka this year at Tales, we did the portfolio party, and that was really about it for us. We kind of function our budget around getting to the actual bartenders in our cities, and maybe so the people aren't able to make it here. We obviously did the portfolio party, and we had a mythology theme. We had an 8-foot troll in a cauldron. Some of the mythology.
A real troll.
Yeah. Real troll. There's quite a few of those around here, right? No, of course. But trolls and elves are a major part of the Icelandic heritage. Yes. It's one of the fun, scary stories over there for children. But it's something you kind of embrace and bring back to America.
Is that the culture of Krampus?
Yes, right. Oh, 13 Santa Clauses that will devour you and eat you if you don't.
Krampus. Wait a second. We were at a Krampus bar. In LA.
Yes, I've been there.
Yeah.
It was their pop-up.
Well, we shot our podcast.
Yes, what was that? Carrie, the bar that you do all the events at. Lost Property. They did a Krampus pop-up.
They were doing a Krampus.
We did. I believe we may have sponsored, if I'm correct, a Halloween version with them last year. I think Reyka did a little bit of something with it. But that Krampus bar is fabulous because that is, in Iceland growing up, that's what you're told. Like these Santa Clauses, why they come and stand over you while you sleep, and they will horrify you and eat you if you're a bad kid. It's horrifying to grow up in Iceland as a child.
It's like Hansel and Gretel.
Right.
Morbid sort of fairy tale.
Yeah. I guess so.
They grow up well adjusted, though.
That's right.
People are very, very nice.
And we're all okay.
I guess.
I think.
Yeah. Well, we know.
Growing up, it was
rough. I know.
Just kidding, Dad.
It's okay.
You're a great dad. Well, what about the balance? You know, do you travel a lot?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah.
Do you
It's
take
tough.
them? You take them along?
Try to.
Yeah.
Actually, my daughter this year is going to be doing an online academy school because she's actually a really good basketball player and wants to do more of that. So she's doing this. Yeah, we've spent the last 2 years living in California. So she's going to try to come along a little bit more. They're going to try to travel with me, which would be wonderful. You know, because there's times when you're gone 3 weeks out of a month.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I've still had somebody in the last 2 years I lived in California. The most I've ever actually been there at one time is 3 weeks. You know, and that's Blue Driving Road. I'm like, where am I going? And my wife's like, turn on
Right.
Golden Lantern. I'm like, I don't know where Golden Lantern is. You got to hear them.
That's interesting.
So yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I travel a little bit, and
Yeah.
I have an 11 and 13-year-old. Maybe they're watching the live stream. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah, it's possible.
Got a tablet somewhere in the house, I'm sure.
somewhere. Technology is always a thing in our house.
Always.
Geez. I'd like to have another sip of this cocktail.
Yeah, well, I've been
Cheers,
having it. It's just delicious.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey.
Mm.
The master mixologist you are.
Right. I know this is probably one of the first drinks I've made in years. You know, that's one of the unfortunate parts of being an ambassador. Sometimes you don't get to get behind the bar as much as you like,
Right.
or be as creative. But, you know, it is fun to go out and meet all the people. And honestly, now, I mean, I'm sure you guys see it too.
Yeah.
You walk into a bar and you see some of these recipes and you're like, what they are doing right now is so far elevated from where I was when I started 15, 20 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
I would never have been able to keep up. They would have my job now for
Mhm.
sure. You know, I got very lucky to come in at a time when growth was growing hugely in the cocktail world. You know,
Yeah.
the golden age of cocktails,
Yeah.
the Renaissance. And that was wonderful. But yeah, I couldn't do what these people are doing now. We had a Sexy Fish from Miami come in and do some
Yeah.
drinks. And they had this, they had a grape drink. I'm going to slaughter what it was, but it was basically carbonated grapes. And it was like this crystal clear, beautiful drink that tasted like grape soda. And it was like the most fabulous
And it was
thing.
alcoholic.
Yeah, it was one of the most
Yeah.
fabulous things I've ever had. And this week we had Nickel City come in and they did
Oh, I
their
love
Chi-Chi
Nickel
drink,
City.
the frozen Chi-Chi drink, which is like a big
Yeah.
pot with vodka.
Yeah.
I drank like 18 of them, and then my blood sugar was like 9,000
Of course.
the next day, but that's okay.
Can you tell us the recipe for this drink?
Yes, the recipe for this drink. So, you know, we keep this kind of loose with Reyka. You know, we want to make sure that the drink is really good, but you can kind of vary a little bit. So this exact drink is 2 parts of Reyka vodka, about 3/4 of like our tablespoon of like strawberry rhubarb jam or strawberry rhubarb syrup, which you can buy on Amazon very inexpensively. You know, we optionally you can add about a half of a part of simple syrup in there,
Yeah.
and then about half an ounce or half a part of lime or lemon, and top it with a little bit of champagne. Well, like I said today, use brut rosé with this one,
Yeah.
just to have a little, and then some fresh
You know what? I'm
strawberries.
going to take a bite of
I already
strawberry.
took-
Right, they're delicious. Yeah.
What are you excited about next? Anything?
You know, the Spirit
Coming up
Awards
real-
tonight. I'm excited about that. You know, see what's
Oh,
happening.
now it's Spirited Awards.
Yes. See who's going to take home, you know, the best bars and top bars. You know, I get to meet so many of these wonderful people all over the country, and so you always get excited for them. You know,
Yeah.
it's their time to kind of shine. I always see what's up and coming. For myself personally, I get to go to DC, Baltimore in the next couple of weeks. I'm always excited to go to DC. Like DC is one of my favorite places.
I love DC.
Wonderful bar scene
Yeah.
there. You know, it's food and bar scene there is just absolutely incredible.
If you had a piece of advice to give to a young, scrappy bartender,
A real scrappy bartender, you know, I didn't say staying true to themselves. You know what don't try to be somebody else. Don't be where you're not from. You know, like how come you're from Iowa and we always tried to make drinks that weren't Iowan, and then you're like, wait a minute, I'm from here. Let's embrace this corn and like the agriculture aspects and just do things of what you know. You know, you don't have to be who you're not. So just stay true to who you are. You know, it's okay to not drink and be in the alcohol industry. You know, I don't drink that often anymore. You guys, as we get older, it's a little more difficult.
Yeah.
It's okay to have a family, and you know, you don't have to rush. Take your time. I think that's the biggest thing. Just enjoy it. You know, meet great people, be
Right.
yourself, and stay true to that.
From Iowa to Iceland.
Iowa to
What,
Iceland.
what a transition.
Yes.
those are great
Wow.
pieces of advice. It's been great
Thank
chatting
you,
with
guys.
you,
Thank you
Jeff.
guys for having me. It's always wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll be right back with our next guest.
Hey everyone, Jonathan here. If you're into swag as much as we are, then look no further than our Cocktail Guru shop. The items in our store have been personally chosen, handpicked with care by me, I'm Jonathan, and my team of Cocktail Gurus. A water bottle with a stainless steel straw? Yep. T-shirts? Hoodies? The snapback hats? Signed copies of Mr. Boston Bartender's Guide? Cocktail box kits, bar tools, and more. You betcha. We've even managed to create a onesie for that mocktail lover in your family. So head on over to shop.thecocktailguru.com and use code GURU23 for 10% off your first order. It's a great deal. That's shop.thecocktailguru.com, 10% off with code GURU23. Cheers.
Here we go.
Yeah.
We're on again, John. Here we go. This is
the notification from our
yes,
producer.
it's live
Gary.
stream. Remember,
It is, and anything can happen. But we're super excited, obviously, to have the two guests that we just had, but also now our third and final guest for this live stream episode.
Now we have Nicholas Rose from Hudson Whiskey.
Welcome.
Welcome, Nicholas. Thank you very much. Yeah.
We've been big fans of Hudson Whiskey for
Yeah.
many, many years. And we're super excited because I feel like there's a fair amount of innovation now happening with Hudson, which is great because kind of needed a little bit of a boost. And you, Nick, how did you? Well, first of all, before we start any of this, we always ask I always forget this part. What is your desert island drink?
Desert Island drink. I don't mean to sound too, M&O mixologist snobby, but a little bit of rye, just mixed into a lemon slushy.
Whoa.
Ooh, nice.
High-end.
Refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
Very nice.
I like that.
That's a first.
That's trust me.
Yeah.
So how did you, Nicholas, how did you get into this world of spirits?
Actually, I grew up about 40 minutes from the distillery.
Oh.
So I get to kind of like watch it grow. In upstate New York, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Very, very close. It's not as far as it sounds.
Is that Gardner?
It's
Right near Gardner.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for keeping.
We've been, we went. I mean,
Welcome. We've been
we
there. Yes.
visited
When it first opened.
I don't know, almost 20 years ago, I guess.
Yeah, 2003. So
Yeah, it was 20 years ago.
So then you guys would know it's a very
Yes.
it's a sleepy area.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quiet,
Very.
farms, things like that. So growing up in that kind of area, you're looking for something to kind of kick it in the pants a little bit. So the opening of the first distillery in New York State, being a stone's throw from your house, is very, very exciting. So I wasn't 21 when it started, but I was itching to get there.
You must have been a kid.
I was. Yeah.
So you were
I was
looking
still
at
in
it.
high school, but I was
Is it-
looking at
okay.
it like, oh my God, finally something
Yeah.
cool is happening here. I'm sure I'm upsetting somebody in my hometown, but they know. So I kind of wanted to get into it. I got into bartending. I got into the craft cocktail stuff through them. And then honestly just said yes to anything they asked me to do. And now I'm kind of running programming at the visitor center, putting together new tastings, putting together tours, stuff like that. So
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We have to go back. We're due for another visit.
We are.
much
An
has
updated
changed.
version
Yeah, it's
of
very,
the
very
last visit.
updated. Yeah. Yep. So
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So we have some wonderful whiskeys to taste, perhaps.
yeah, absolutely.
Do we not?
I think we do.
I think
This
we
is
do.
I wish you would. So this is our do the rye thing.
Do the rye.
Do the rye thing.
Of
We love a
course.
good pun. We love a bad pun
I
too,
do-
but
I
they
do
don't market
too.
it as well.
Dad is all about
You've got a fan
Yeah,
here when it
yeah,
comes
I
to
picked up
puns.
on it. Yeah. So it was formerly our Manhattan rye, and like you said, we're
Oh,
innovating,
yeah,
we're
right.
updating. 95% rye grain, 5% malted barley, all New York State grain. Right, so it's got a very different terroir from your kind of standard Southern ryes. That's our whole idea. Is we don't want to step on any toes in the South. We want it to be completely New York distilled. Right, we want our own flavor profile, our own thing. So we're not necessarily in competition, just paying a little homage. So cheers to you,
What's
gentlemen.
the aging on this?
This is
Cheers.
minimum 3 years in the barrel. Right? So you're gonna get like nice dark chocolate, a little bit of almost cocoa puff on the nose. It's my favorite note.
Oh,
a little
yeah.
bit of that bell pepper.
Wow.
That is delicious.
Yeah, a little bit of spearmint on the
Yeah.
finish.
Chocolate. Definitely.
Big chocolate notes. That's a big thing we're working on at the distillery, doing more unique pairings. So we've started with some whiskey and chocolate pairings, which easily go hand in hand. We're working on, actually just kind of brewed this idea the other day, doing a whiskey and cheese pairing.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
special featuring
You've done
stuff
that.
that's
Oh,
around
yes,
us,
I
you know?
have.
That's the blending of my two favorite worlds, dairy and whiskey.
And
So really-
don't forget whiskey and oysters.
I do love whiskey and
Yeah.
oysters. It's been 4 days of whiskey and oysters down here, if we're being
Really?
honest.
Good.
Yeah. Yep.
Good.
How do you like your oysters?
I have no preference, man.
Char
Like,
grill,
in my
char
face.
grill,
In my
fresh.
face.
Oh,
is
in
how
your
I like
face.
my
Oh,
oysters. Just
of course.
constant. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
take them anywhere.
Yeah.
Char
Don't
grilled,
matter.
fresh, fried.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Take it. But nothing better than oysters and a great whiskey.
Yeah. See, you're a man after my own heart.
Yeah, thank you. We've got to get together and
Yeah, let's just
do some dining.
I'm next to him like 24/7.
Yep.
I mean, not actually, just when we're together, which is
which doesn't happen that
it doesn't happen that often, but when it does, it's wonderful and it's a blessing.
Yeah, for me too. But anyway, that's beside the point. That's that's neither here nor there. But this is delicious, and there's a lot of concentration there and a lot of nice complexity for a whiskey that's only 3 years old. Or
yes, well, it's a blend of 3 to 6, so the
3 to 6.
3.
Okay.
But
Well,
I think
tastes more beyond 3.
yes,
Yeah.
The
Definitely
concentration
tastes
is
old.
the
Delicious.
95% rye grain.
Right, super concentrated, super high rye.
Yeah,
And you won me over right away when you say rye.
Yeah.
Anything with rye.
And what do you suggest for a cocktail for something like this?
I mean, as a rule, we don't love suggested serves. It's your mouth, it's your money. You do you.
So,
But
Manhattan.
if I was, Manhattan's a classic.
Saying in New Orleans,
It's your mouth, it's your money. That's what brought us here.
Or a Sazerac.
I do love this in a Sazerac.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
It's an instant classic. I'm a big fan of Boulevardiers with this guy.
yeah.
He had that spice. He had that really big, hefty note in the bottom of it. Super,
so good.
A lot of depth.
Should we try the next one?
Yeah. So this is talking about innovation. This is what we're really excited about. This is currently a distillery exclusive. One of the things we get to do at Tuttletown at the distillery is kind of use it as a test market. And, it's important to us to not be just the Bright Lights Big Bourbon and do the rye thing factory. So there's always, different cask finishes, things like that. This is a Calvados cask rye.
Wow.
This is 3.5 years in its original barrel, 3.5 years in the Calvados cask. And you guys know from being there, upstate New York is apple country.
Yeah.
So we're here with that apple brandy. You get that fantastic. There's going to be cooked apple, cinnamon on the nose. This is kind of that New York autumn distilled into a bottle.
Yeah.
It's
So are you using you're making Calvados or you're making apple brandy up there?
This is not from those barrels. We have done apple brandy in the past, but these are just straight
these
up
are barrels from
Calvados.
from France.
Yeah.
Yep.
From Normandy.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a first for me.
Yeah, I think it might be.
First is what we aim for.
Whiskey aged in Calvados
This is,
barrels, definitely a first. Yeah.
This is what we like to
Very
do.
exciting.
This is probably my favorite thing we've ever put out.
Wow, that's saying a lot.
It's saying a lot because I was a fan, like I said before, I worked there. But this is
wow, that's so smooth.
Yeah.
That is really smooth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just pouring out, the difference between the texture. I could tell that there's, a silky texture in the Calvados.
Pulls a lot out of the barrel for sure. My favorite thing about this is honestly, rye can be divisive. It's not necessarily.
No, it can't. It can't. Rye is wonderful.
I know you're barking up my tree with that, but it takes a little bit for a lot of people to get introduced to it.
Yeah.
The apple, that opening note of apple cinnamon that everybody's familiar with, is very welcoming on this one. It can be simple if you let it be simple, but then if you sit and you chew it, you can really still find all those really deep, interesting notes that you got out of
I'm definitely tasting Calvados, something reminiscent of Calvados. It's really interesting.
Yes, well, it is aged in Calvados barrels.
Yes,
so
thank you very much, John. Thank you for
what would come
remembering that. But anyway, I wanted to mention also that Tuttletown is full of history.
Oh,
it's just it was a grist mill.
Yes.
Before it became a distillery.
Yes. The longest operating grist mill in New York history.
Yeah.
It was 288 years or something.
Somewhere around 1788.
Yeah, 1788. Somewhere around.
Yeah, right.
Somewhere around the exact date.
The exact date.
Yeah, he's got the time to do the research and look at that stuff.
It's a wonderful site. I mean, we have, I believe it's 32 acres that we're setting on. Yeah. So, but there's more to it than just expanding into rick houses and whatnot. We're right on the Shawangunk Kill, so there's a gorgeous river walk. There's actually a really nice resort that just opened up adjacent to our property. So
really?
Take that walk.
A resort as in
there.
Pool,
massages, fantastic restaurant, a massage, if you will. Yeah. So it's growing every day.
And I noticed that Mohonk is mentioned as well.
Yeah, Mohonk
somewhere on the website.
Oh yes, we've been to Mohonk.
We have been there more than once.
Yeah. It's 15, 20 minutes from us. It's a really gorgeous drive up and down. So we do a fair bit of programming with them in terms of tastings going up there and things like that. But it's the whole area is becoming a place to stay. You know, we've gotten the last 20 years from Mohonk and maybe 3 other motels to now there's things cropping up left and right.
Yeah,
It's been wonderful.
And is it about an hour and a half from the
Hour
city?
and a half from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that would be about an hour south of Albany, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
went to school in Saratoga.
Oh, fantastic.
College.
I love
Yeah.
Saratoga, man.
Yep.
Yep.
So we love upstate New York.
Yes, we do. We always have.
And so is this your first Tales of the Cocktail? Have you been to Tales?
This is my second.
Okay, so you
Tales
came
of
last
the
year.
Cocktail.
Another year.
I believe it was the year before.
The year before? Okay.
Yeah.
So what are your, how has your Tales been so far?
It's been fantastic, as
Yeah.
it always is. You know, bumping into people that you don't get to see all the time. We're Grant's brand as well, so the Grant's portfolio party was
Right.
fantastic. I got to roam around in the Bigfoot suit, which was
Wait.
you guys really missed out.
Well, we're still on a high from last year's William Grant.
That's
that
fair.
portfolio.
It's always a banger.
Oh my gosh, it's such a
We
banger.
remember that very well.
Uh,
Great.
oh my gosh, I can't. Why did we miss it? We were just so super tired.
I'll get the Bigfoot suit and I'll wear it for you.
Oh.
So, yeah, we'll do it.
Oh,
We'll do a separate live
perfect.
stream for that.
Thank you.
No, you need to
Yeah.
just
Thank you.
film some B-roll of yourself in the Bigfoot suit.
I'm afraid of what exists already, so that's
And then, in your position, are you traveling around? Are you going around and doing education? Or are you
We do
mostly
get-
just based out in Gardner? And
It's about a 70-30 split. I'm usually based out in Gardner, but we don't have a BA at the moment, so sometimes they, let me off the site. They undo the chain. It's very exciting. But it's really great because my supervisor Jacob and I are kind of like the faces right now, and we're both super passionate about the brand. We're very personally invested in it.
Yeah.
Because of what we do for the community. So we do get to do a fair bit of education.
And you have a bar out there.
We have
You
a
have a bar, you
fantastic
have a
cocktail
restaurant,
bar, which
right?
actually we don't have a restaurant
Or-
anymore, unfortunately.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
But we have a fantastic cocktail program, which honestly, speaking of education, that's one of our favorite joys is bringing in people to work there who don't really have the experience. It's always what gets them excited about it, and teaching them how to make craft cocktails and how to balance things out and how to use our product and kind of really let it shine.
so anyone can come up to the distillery and visit.
Anyone should come up.
Anyone
to the
should.
distillery and the visit. Yeah, absolutely. We're 7 days a week. There's tour, cocktail bar. There's 2 fat cats. If you're a cat fan, that's honestly mostly what
Cats.
2K.
Yeah.
Bourbon and
I like
rye,
cats.
They're kind
The,
of
oh, the cats are bourbon.
the
and
cats
rye.
are bourbon and
That
rye.
makes sense.
Yeah,
I like that.
but we love having people. We're gonna start doing, like I said, more tastings, kind of
Yeah.
stuff here and there.
Awesome. Well, speaking of having people, I'd like to bring on our other guests now.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you very much.
Jim,
Yes, thank you very much.
Nicholas, come on over. Thank you for joining us for our very first.
Thank you very
Live
much,
stream.
gentlemen. This is a momentous occasion.
Here we are.
Thank you for sharing our live stream.
Thank you, guys. Cheers. Yes. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
The Cocktail Guru presents Cocktail Commentary with Jeffrey Pogash. Presented by Absinthia's Bottled Spirits, the world's best tasting absinthes and craft mixers. Sit back and enjoy the story of the Sazerac cocktail.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Cocktail Commentary. Let the good times roll. Laissez les bons temps rouler. That's the philosophy that has guided the fine citizens of New Orleans for more than 300 years. Visiting New Orleans is always a blast, in large part thanks to the city's great bars and, naturally, correspondingly great cocktails. There are many drinks to be found in the Crescent City, but there is one that we can point to that serves as the symbol of cocktail culture in New Orleans, and that's a drink whose influence has exported that culture throughout the United States and the world. The drink is called the Sazerac. Most cocktail lovers have enjoyed this drink, and many have heard of it, even if they haven't tasted it. But do you know that the Sazerac's creation did not happen in a bar? It was not even some genius, highly talented bartender who came up with the recipe. But wait, there's more.
there will be a second twist to this surprising tale of competing spirits and one of the most influential men in the history of cocktails. The Sazerac as we know it today is a delicious, balanced drink incorporating rye whiskey or bourbon, absinthe, a sugar cube and bitters. A lemon peel tops off the drink as a garnish. I ask you, my friends, what better way is there to let the good times roll? I love the Sazerac cocktail, and as I've mentioned in a previous commentary, we may call this drink a cocktail because it contains bitters. Yes, bitters. And the bitters used in the drink were created by a man named Antoine Amédée Peychaud. I am here in front of Antoine Amédée Peychaud's original apothecary. This was it. He came to New Orleans from Haiti, which was called Santo Domingo at the time, in around 1793. We don't know exactly when this apothecary was created, but we do know that the Sazerac cocktail came from this very spot. He established himself in Big Easy society and became well known as a creator of medicinal bitters. One of them bears his name, a somewhat sweet and spicy one called Peychaud bitters. He loved to experiment with his medicinal bitters, always searching for a way to make them more palatable for his patients. He did this after hours in the basement of the apothecary, and of course, these experiments resulted in the birth of a cocktail or two, the most famous of which is known as the Sazerac, the cocktail that put New Orleans on the map as the drinks capital of this new American territory. Remember, the Louisiana Purchase took place in 1803, becoming official in 1804, when France signed the documents handing over this huge swath of land that effectively doubled the size of the young United States. The French connection is key to the story, since the original Sazerac cocktail was made with cognac as its base spirit. Yes, cognac, not the American rye whiskey that is used most often today. The cognac came from a company called Sazerac de Forges et Fils, and voila, Peychaud found a name for his prodigy, the Sazerac. The Sazerac recipe is as follows: 1 sugar cube, 3 dashes of Peychaud's bitters, 2 ounces of cognac or your favorite rye whiskey, 1/4 ounce of absinthe, a high-quality absinthe like Absinthia, and a lemon twist. Fill an old-fashioned glass with ice cubes. Muddle sugar and bitters in a second old-fashioned glass. Add cognac or rye whiskey and stir. Discard ice from the first glass. Add absinthe to the chilled glass. Swirl to coat the inside and discard the excess absinthe. Pour cognac or whiskey mixture from the second glass into the chilled glass. Twist a lemon peel over the drink, but do not place in the drink itself. And there we have it, a classic and quite delicious Sazerac. Thank you very much for joining me for this edition of Cocktail Commentary. And until next time, cheers.
That does it for today's show.
If you enjoy what we do, please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast.
To watch or listen to today's episode or to see the show notes, visit thecocktailgurupodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, or TikTok.
The Cocktail Guru podcast is produced by First Reel Entertainment and can be seen on EatsDrinksTV.com, Spotify, and Zencaster, or heard on Apple, Google, Amazon, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. Travel arrangements provided in part by Zell Travel.